I've been in situations like that before. It's never played out publicly like this was, but I can understand where she's coming from a little bit.
Damn, so you've been in that situation before, yet you still felt the need to throw her in front
that
of
says
the bus.
A lot. A WNBA legend admitted she has been in the same situation as Caitlin Clark, but then she criticized her instead of supporting her. That legend is Cheryl Miller, and what she said on Sunday started a huge debate. Her comments revealed a growing divide in the way the league and the media talk about Caitlin Clark. So, what exactly did Cheryl Miller say?
Happens more often than not. I agree with her on that.
Oh yeah, she definitely has a microscope on her. Honestly, I think it's just more of the same of what we talked about yesterday, which was, for me, coach-player relationship matters. What is allowed, I guess, between that relationship. But it comes to a point where I think an area of growth for Caitlin
This is where things
these
get
moments.
more complicated. Sue Bird talks about something that makes sense. She says players need to grow emotionally and learn how to stay calm when calls don't go their way. That's a fair point, and most people have no problem with what she said. But the real issue came next. The conversation changed from a simple coaching lesson to something that sounded more like a planned message. And the person who delivered it was Cheryl Miller.
I've got to say one thing about Caitlin, and sometimes I have to remember that she is young, Sue, and the amount of pressure that is on this young lady, and she's coming back, from her injuries and living up to what everybody expects her to be and do and whatnot can be a little bit overwhelming. So I'm gonna give her some grace. And
Listen
she's right
carefully
about
to
one
what
thing.
she says. Cheryl Miller says she wants to give Caitlin Clark some grace. She admits that Clark is under a lot of pressure, coming back from a groin injury that kept her out for several games, while also dealing with huge expectations. Miller even says she has been in the same kind of situation herself. But then she changes direction and criticizes Clark anyway. That's what upset so many fans. First she offers support, then she follows it with criticism. And according to those fans, this isn't the first time they've seen that happen.
Lisa Leslie, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark should be co-MVP. Then the next day, Lisa Leslie says, Caitlin and being left off Team USA and this, that, and the third. No. We already know where you stand on things. We already know where your
Remember Lisa Leslie? She publicly praised Caitlin Clark and even said she could be the league's co-MVP. But the very next day, she questioned why Clark was left off Team USA, making it sound like there was a good reason for it. Fans say it's the same pattern. First, they praise Clark in public, then they step back when other longtime voices in the league push back. The criticism is that these legends have already chosen their side, and the positive comments are just for show. According to those fans, their real opinion comes out whenever Clark makes a mistake.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. Moving on.
It's not that Caitlin, it's not about diminishing what makes Caitlin great. And to your point, it's that competitiveness. It's everything she does offensively, right? She has to cut her runway. She has to acknowledge where her runway ends and understand where she's becoming bigger than the program and how that's impacting.
Okay. She has to acknowledge where her runway ends. But then you're asking her to cut her runway.
This is the part that made many basketball fans stop and think. Some people are saying Caitlin Clark needs to cut her runway, meaning she should know her limits and play with less freedom. But think about what that really means. Clark is one of the most exciting offensive players the league has ever seen. Her confidence, deep shooting, and fearless style are exactly what made her so popular and brought millions of new fans to the WNBA. Now, some media voices at The Athletic are suggesting she should hold back and play more carefully. That's the contradiction many fans point out. You can't praise the qualities that make her special while also asking her to do less of the very things that made her successful.
Andy Constable. We all know Andy Constable by now. Raven Johnson should start. Oh, God.
I don't know if it's going to be Caitlin doing it for Caitlin. I think an external event has to happen. Raven Johnson starts, right? Or,
oh my God. Can you imagine?
I literally cannot.
Can you imagine? Dude, imagine. imagine a WNBA show, and we're saying,
then there's the discussion about Raven Johnson. Some people have suggested that she should be moved into the starting lineup, and the excitement around that idea caught the attention of many fans. They argue it didn't sound like a simple basketball discussion about improving the lineup. But when someone pointed out that Johnson replacing a starter would most likely mean taking Lexi Hull's spot, not Caitlin Clark's, the idea no longer made as much sense. That's why some fans believe the conversation was never really about getting Johnson into the starting five. They think it was really about looking for a reason to bench Caitlin Clark.
Event has to happen.
Look how excited and giddy she's getting ready to float this bullshit out here.
I don't know if it's going to be Caitlyn doing it.
She can't hide her excitement.
I think an external event has to happen.
She can't hide her excitement.
Raven Johnson starts, right? Or,
oh my God. Can you imagine? Like,
I can, literally cannot.
I literally cannot imagine Caitlyn getting back.
Raven Johnson is only entering the starting lineup if it comes at the expense of Lexi Hull. Like, that's the only way this is happening.
There you go, Sabrina. Shout out to you.
I feel you. I'm just giving you an example of like a canon type event that would need to occur for Caitlyn of like.
This is the idea that ties everything together. Some people suggest that if Caitlin Clark doesn't become more humble on her own, something will happen that forces her to change. They even talk about a so-called canon event, where Clark is expected to say, "I'm not the main attraction. I'm just one member of the team." Many fans find that idea unusual. They point out that no other rookie with this level of attention or responsibility was expected to publicly downplay their own importance in the same way. From that point of view, they believe the expectation isn't simply about humility, it's about asking Clark to make herself smaller, or else others will try to do it for her.
Playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, that when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of adjustments that people have to make on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the training room. Just a lot of stuff is a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest part that I respected about Caitlyn is that she never was bigger than the program.
Hold on. I didn't hear you.
In the training room. Just a lot of stuff is a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest part that I respected about Caitlyn is that she never
This is where many fans believe the story falls apart. While some media voices spent days arguing that Caitlin Clark acts like she's bigger than the team, Kelsey Mitchell, someone who actually plays with her every day, described a very different experience. Mitchell said it takes time for everyone to adjust when a player with that much attention joins the team because it affects everything on and off the court. But she also said the thing she respected most was that Clark never acted like she was bigger than the team. For many fans, that carries more weight because it comes from a teammate who sees Clark every day, rather than from outside
Mitchell
analysts.
On record saying, the one thing I like about Caitlin Clark, she's never acted like she's bigger than the program. She never gave me the impression that she's bigger than the program. She was always ready to just fit right in, do what was needed to be done. Then we have another stooge, part of the Three Stooges, we have another one that says, oh, Caitlin Clark, she needs to be punished. She needs to be put in timeout. There needs to be something done
Kelsey
about
Mitchell
this.
isn't the only teammate who has spoken about Caitlin Clark. She has also said that one of the things she respects most is that Clark never acted like she was bigger than the team. Instead, she came in ready to fit in and do whatever was needed. That's why many fans see a big contradiction. The people who work with Clark every day describe her as a good teammate who puts the team first. At the same time, some TV analysts and writers at The Athletic have presented a very different picture. Many fans argue that teammates have more reason to know the truth because they see Clark every day, while media personalities are focused on creating stories that attract attention. They believe this isn't just about one comment, but a pattern where Clark is criticized, the backlash follows, the criticism is softened, and then the same cycle starts again after her next bad game. Fans point to Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie, the Raven Johnson lineup discussion, the idea that Clark should cut her runway, and calls for something to humble her as examples of that pattern. On the other hand, they point to Kelsey Mitchell's comments as evidence that Clark has always been a team-first player. That leaves fans asking one question: who should people believe, the analysts giving their opinions from the outside, or the teammate who shares the court and locker room with Clark every day? Many believe that if media credibility is important, then accountability should apply to everyone. In the end, they ask whether this cycle of praising Clark, criticizing her, softening the criticism, and repeating it after every difficult game will ever end.